Welcome back everyone. If you are just watching this video now and you don't have the source code downloaded yet, I will put the link of the GitHub repo in the description section. So go ahead and download that. And you should see something similar that I'm showing here on your desktop or wherever you download the repo with the README file, the to-do APIs in .NET, which should look like something like this, which should have entities, models, and your program.cs with all the endpoints for the API. So this is where we are right now in terms of development. So I'm building this course to show you how it looks like in real life building an enterprise application with SwiftUI. I am taking an example of an enterprise app where you will have a server with an API which is talking to a database, and then it's sending data back to the app. Let's have a look at the, just an overview of the architecture that I just told you guys. So in terms of the architecture, this is a typical client server architecture where you have a client and you have a server. In our situation, we have a client which is an app, and then we have a server which could be anything, but in our case this is going to be a .NET API service, so which will act as a client. And when you know that when we have a server, it has to be on a server. In our case, we are going to host it in Azure, and we will be using the Azure app service to host our API, and we will use the Azure SQL database. So this is our server which we have, and then we have another database server. So this server will host our API, which will talk to the database, and then it will get the data back to the API. And now the responsibility of the API is to send this data to the app, and then the app can request this data from the API. This is the high level of architecture, right? In terms of initializing the request, first the app is going to ask the API to give me the data. So we have app here. So you have your app, and then you have your server, right? App is going to say, okay, get to-dos, right? It's going to send a get request. I'm going to just say get to-dos. It's a get request, and then there is no parameter we need to send. It just send all the data, all the to-dos, and then the server will send the array of to-dos back to the app. In this case, when the server sends the data back, it needs to encode this data so that it can travel back on the network to the app. And when the data is received by the app, so let's say this packet is sent by the server, which is encoded, which can be encoded using XML, JSON, or Proto. And once the data is arrived at the app, then the app needs to decode this data. And this process is called encoding and decoding. Why I'm explaining this? Because in the app, we are going to use these terms encode and decode. And before going to do that, I wanted to explain this to you guys, what encoding and decoding is and why we need that. So this is the high level of explanation of the architecture that we'll have in terms of the setup. We will evolve this more in future as we keep adding more features to the app, authentication, dependency injection, and notifications, offline storage and stuff. So this is the high level, and let's get into it, and I'll show you how we can do the encoding and decoding of the data in the app in the next video.